This is Josie Howard from the Little Birdie magazine, and today we're filming our agent profile, and I've got Natalia Dearnley with me from Smith & Elliott. How are you, Natalia?
I'm really good. Thank you so much for having me.
That's okay. So last edition you actually featured in our socials quite a lot. You do get out and about a fair bit. But you're fairly new to Townsville, so tell me a little bit about your story, where you've come from.
Well, that's the most important thing about getting out and about when you're brand new. And so I am originally Australian. When I finished university, my parents decided to go and have a 3-year adventure in the UK, and I thought, yeah, that sounds great. Yeah. 20 years later, we're on our way home. So I'm the vanguard, brought my family back, and my parents, my sister, they're on their way as well.
So are your dad or mum still here at the moment? I know
your
dad's been here.
My dad's here, my mum's out in a couple of weeks, and she'll stay till April, so it's fantastic.
And does your dad go back?
Yes, he goes back at the end of December.
Okay, but he might come back.
They're permanently coming back.
Oh, they're permanently coming back?
Yeah.
So we've got some new arrivals coming to Townsville.
Yeah. Yes, they've never been to Townsville either. For me, it was sticking a pin in a map in the middle of COVID. So I'd never been here.
I was going to ask, how did you choose Townsville? Because it's quite a funny story.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So I turned 40. And it was the second year of COVID, and I was looking out the window at the grey skies as we were expecting, you wait for spring to come, and spring often doesn't come. And I was looking out the window and I thought, I don't want to spend the rest of my life here. I want to go home. And I hadn't thought that for a very long time. So it was one of those things where I made the decision in the moment, and we put everything in place to get back.
Tell me, so you've moved here, you've decided on a real estate career. What made you think of going into real estate here?
Well, I've always had a passion for it. I've done up my own houses in the UK. I've done 2 forever homes, and I think I've learnt my lesson there. However, having a passion for it, getting here, buying houses, it was an opportunity that I actually just fell into. I was asked if I was interested, and that the skills that I had would be great for it, and it turned out to be the very best career I ever could have picked, because what I bring to the role is different, because I don't have a sales background at all, but what I do have is a relationship management type of thinking. So I'm looking for win-win solutions.
So you've landed on your feet in real estate because you're with the wonderful Sally Elliott, who is extraordinarily well known and well liked within the region.
She's a legend.
She's a legend. So tell me, how do you work with Sally? What's the relationship there?
Well, she's the most amazing mentor, and I think we found each other at exactly the right moment, right when we were supposed to.
Serendipitous.
Yes, very much so. And so it's been a fantastic meeting of minds. She has so much knowledge,
But she's very down to earth, isn't she? She's had an amazing life.
An amazing career, and she's very generous with how much she teaches and how much support she gives. She's absolutely fantastic. So I've just found my role is great, because it means I'm supporting her, she's supporting me, and we're doing amazing things for the business together.
That's fantastic.
We're building a really great team around us.
Yeah, and I guess that's the telltale signs of that is you've got a load of listings at the moment that I'm aware of, and things have been fantastic for you working with Sally, which is brilliant. You've come here, you've bought some houses yourself.
Yes.
So what do you think are some of the most aspirational things about a move to Townsville for somebody? If somebody's moving here from another city, what are the selling points here?
There are so many, and they're all secret.
And I know I'm going to confuse you, they're all secret.
They're all secret, that's the thing. I grew up a southerner. And if anybody, up until last year when I chose to come here, anybody had told me far north Queensland, I would have gone, oh God, no.
The eye roll.
Sweat and mosquitoes and crocodiles and snakes. And And it's just, it is such a well-kept secret, and we need to tell everybody. There is so much here.
There is.
There is society here. There are outdoor pursuits. There's a million of them. There's waterfalls. The top 10 things to do features an awful lot of waterfalls. There is so many different
And you don't
things.
know about all of them. They're not all listed. You have to ask around a little bit.
That's exactly it.
I know.
It's still, there's secrets on top of secrets.
I know, yeah. Look, I'm fairly new here too, right? And same thing. You find new things all the time. It's a part of why we do the magazine. You love going out. We know that. You at lots of events. You're very charitable in your time to actually support lots and lots of events.
Well, that's what it's about, really. I mean, when you don't know anybody, it's about getting out there, shaking hands and saying, "Hi, I'm Natalia." And it's incredibly nerve-wracking because you walk into a room and you don't think you're going to know anyone there. And as you move on, you actually start to go, "Oh, I've met
people.
that person and I've met that person." And that gives you a step in. And then you go and chat to them, and then you hope that they might introduce you to somebody else. And so it's a vital thing to do, is to get out there and meet people. But then beyond that, as you start to make friends, it's about supporting what they do. There are so many businesses here, and I see that coming from the UK, where they're losing shops, you don't see a lot of businesses because they're all now online. Here you've got shops you can walk into, you've got people you can work with, you've got people who you see. The networking that goes on here, there are so many business networking operations and events that are going on. You actually can meet the people that are running these businesses, and the most important thing you can do is support local. So rather than buying everything from Amazon and the big companies, it's about supporting the people who are making Townsville. And so for me, whatever I can do in any kind of form, if I can be out there and helping and supporting, then that's what I want to do.
Yeah, and there is so much here to support.
Yes.
It's one of my I guess one of the things that got validated here for me is that it is a very sophisticated city. There is great restaurants, there's some great shopping, albeit they are hard to find sometimes. Like you need to know where some things are, but that's part of the reason for the magazine too, to help people find where to shop, where to get your hair done, where, all those sorts of things that are tricky when you first move to a city. But also where to fish, like I know you've taken the kids fishing and stuff. I know I've done a couple of trials at fishing.
Yeah,
we're never
my
successful.
very first time, I was not very good. I got sunburnt. It was a rookie error.
And that's the other thing, realistically, Townsville is an outdoor city. One of the things that attracted me here was the idea that you could be outdoors. And I know on your Insta page, you're out with your kids all the time doing things, because you can be.
Yeah.
I don't have it on my Instas, but I'm out a fair bit too, just walking on the Strand, or I actually have a little place that I go to almost pretty well every morning to have a coffee. It's not in a shop. I actually grab a coffee from one of the local shops and head down to a really peaceful part of the beach that I absolutely love. And you can do that here.
Yes.
And there are so many places that to do that would take you an hour. I mean, I remember living in Sydney and people would travel easy 2 or 3 hours just to spend a day at the beach.
Well, our closest beach, where we used to live in the UK, our closest beach with sand was 2 hours, and you had to pre-book your parking, otherwise you couldn't get in.
Really? Nothing like that in Townsville.
So for me, after 20 years of grey and cold, I will never ever complain about the heat. In fact, I love it. I don't even have my air conditioners on yet. So I really enjoy it.
You're very brave.
I really enjoy it. I grew up in Perth, so I think it's sort of where you spend your very early years.
I grew up in Griffith. It was like a hot oven.
Well, maybe it's just me then.
Maybe, yeah. But I spent a long time.
But I love the heat. I love being outside.
Too.
I like that you can plan to do things, and you couldn't do that in the UK. My kids wanted to do so much stuff, and often you couldn't because the weather was awful. And so for us here, we will take advantage of every amazing opportunity that is thrown our way. We will go to everything that we can. We will support every business, every organisation, every charity that we can. Whatever we can do, it's about being part of community. And I think that is absolutely vital. And it's the reason why Townsville is the regional capital. It's because it has so much infrastructure, it has so much support, and it has an incredibly wonderful people that live here.
With this lovely little North Queensland chill that I like to talk about, which is if you've worked for 20 years in Sydney and then you come up here, you go, people here are so relaxed about things, but it's nice. Like it's not unsophisticated, it's just, you don't have to worry so much because you're not hustling and bustling quite as much. You're not putting on the corporate mask. It's like everybody's pretty cool here, about whatever's happening. And, we talk about some of the things that are happening, even with the property market and the rental crisis. And I know Townsville has a massive rental crisis, but as far as the property market is going, where do you think it's heading at the moment? And maybe I will have a little spar on this because I have my own ideas on where I think the property market here is going. What do you think is going to happen with it? We're seeing what's happening in the rest of Australia where there's massive drops in prices. Do you think that's going to happen here?
No.
Oh, well, we agree. We don't have to spar. I actually believe the market here was undervalued for a very long time, and we were beneficiaries of COVID in the sense that working from home, working remotely became big things. The lifestyle up here is so incredible and was so undervalued for so long that I think we're starting to now see, and I think the property prices are still showing it. There's still a great upward trajectory on lifestyle properties in Townsville. There's nothing changing that.
That's what we're seeing.
Some of the others may be slowing down because of the interest rates, but nothing like what's happening in other areas where the prices were genuinely inflated. Here, I think we're still in the catch-up mode. With lifestyle properties, we still haven't reached anywhere near a peak. And I think there's a long way to go. So tell me, what suburbs do you look after in your role?
Well, to be honest, we cover everything here in Townsville, and I have properties that range from Burdell, Dearnley, through to North Ward into the city. So it's quite a vast area. Townsville's not that big, but
it's big, but
big
it's not
enough.
that big.
That's the thing.
It's
true. It's big enough, and that's again one of the things that is fantastic about it. It is not far to get anywhere.
No.
And that's one of the great things that I love about it. That in the morning you can drive to the Strand, you can walk along the Strand, you can watch the sunrise, you can then head out somewhere else, you can have breakfast, you can then go and take the kids you can go and take them to a waterfall, you can then be back in town for lunch, and you can just keep going. It's not
I am
like
becoming a local though.
Thing.
My children asked me to drive 20 minutes in one direction and 20 minutes back, and I kind of went, oh, that seems like a long way. And I know when I first moved here, it was nothing. It's like, that's just like driving to the train station or something. But I must be becoming localised. It might be why this last winter I wore a tracksuit for about 3 months, whereas in previous years I'd had shorts and t-shirts on the whole time.
Well, I was promised 3 days of winter. It was not 3 days.
No, it wasn't. It was freezing.
Far longer. It was very, very cold. I had to find the clothes that I came out on the plane in because they were my warmest clothes, and I had packed them away with no desire to ever wear them again. I had to find socks.
Yeah, I know. I bought a beanie.
We spent 3 days under.
I remember when I first came up here on those little visits too, and I remember looking at people at that time. It was about April, early May. And I remember looking at people wearing like jackets and jeans, and I looked at them and I thought, how could you possibly be wearing that? And then, nearly 4 years later, that's me too. It's not just a Melbourne jacket anymore. It's an everyday and winter jacket for Townsville. So I guess, obviously, you're a real estate agent. Real estate agents get a bad rap. Tell me what some of your qualities are, things that you see that you bring to the role. And I'll just start with the first one. You're probably one of the most hard-working people that I've ever come across, insofar as being determined and hard-working. But just share, how do you do things a little bit differently? How would you like to dispel that myth about real estate agents?
Well, I think for me, it comes down to the kind of service that I would like to receive, the kind of service I would have liked to receive. So I was looking for property from the UK. I was a buyer. And a lot of the time, it can be hard to be a buyer when you don't know the areas, particularly if you are coming from Sydney, Melbourne, anywhere else, and you are trying to move here. If you don't know the areas, You don't know what you're supposed to be looking for. You don't know the different kinds of houses. There are so many different variations here. So whether you're looking at units, whether you're looking at townhouses, whether you're looking at houses or acreage, there is so much choice here. Townsville offers something for everybody. But if you are a buyer and you don't know the area, you need someone to hold your hand. You need someone to point you in the right direction, to give you recommendations. If you're coming from outside, you need to have a Queensland solicitor. You can't use anyone from anywhere else. How do you know who to use? So it's, for me, the most important thing I can offer to whether you're a seller or a buyer, I can offer you honesty. I can tell you, okay, these are the people that you can use. So I can give you recommendations. These are the things you might want to look at. If I've had buyers say, oh, I'm really looking at this, and then you start asking questions like, okay, what are your motivations? What do you value? What are you looking for? What is the kind of lifestyle that you want to have when you're here?
Because lifestyles are different for everybody.
Exactly.
Not everybody wants to live at Rose Bay on the water in a large home. Some people want a little apartment or something, you know, an apartment on the Strand to downsize from their big home somewhere else so they can stay there, you know, through their retirement.
Everybody has different needs, and it's about finding out what they are. So it's the same whether you're finding out for the seller or you're finding out for the buyer. And you can then help them make those choices by giving them the information. You can't make good choices if you don't have all the information. And so for me, my experience has led me to be able to offer what I would have liked to have had. Someone to hold my hand, someone to give me the information.
Some honest advice.
Some honest advice.
And ask the right questions to find out what lifestyle they're after, I think, too, and then matching it to what's on offer here in Townsville.
Well, exactly. Because, and again, that's what I use from my previous career, which is about finding win-win solutions. It's about understanding people's needs and motivations and what they value. And it's absolutely vital that you, as an agent, become a really honest, useful, trustworthy source of information. And because you are helping both sides. And whilst you're working for the vendor, because they're the ones that employ you to sell their house, you are looking constantly to try and make sure that you are fitting the best buyer to that house.
Good match.
It's always got to be a good match.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Okay, Natalia, thank you so much for coming along. Thank you, everybody. You'll find Natalia's contacts in the QR code, which will probably be there or somewhere over there on the page. But yeah, look, stay in touch. Natalia's a great asset to Townsville. And you can contact her at Smith & Elliott Real Estate if you're keen to list your home or you're a buyer looking for a home. I'm pretty sure you'd be more than happy to help. And as I said, one of the most hardworking people I've ever come across. Okay, thanks everybody. Thank you, Natalia.
You're very
thanks.
welcome.